Harris Music, and I'd like to welcome here Mike Jackson, author, musician and music advocate. Welcome to Tassie. You having a good time in Tasmania?
Oh, lovely. We've sort of seen Hobart and thoroughly enjoyed the restaurants and the music down there as well. We had a friend who took us around and introduced us to music, so we're having a wild old time.
Terrific. How long have you been playing music, and what instruments do you play, Mike?
I started playing when I was 12 officially, but I've been trying to play long before that, so I could play one-finger tunes on the piano, and I managed to play God Save Our Gracious Queen on a one-note whistle, and my grandmother recognised it, so that was rather charming. I started on the harmonica, so I play a tiny, tiny little harmonica, and that's one of my little gifts. If I'm on a plane and I play halfway through this song, get halfway through that and the kid's gone from crying to So I started off playing the harmonica and basically started off with one lesson and had no chance to go back and get a repeat of the lesson. So it was basically learn or not learn. And I thought years later when I started going into schools, maybe I could do the same thing for kids, give them the pathway. And so I play now 15, 16 instruments and demonstrate them to the kids and also tell them how they work. Ukulele was a revelation though, because you can't give kids day in day out mouth organs or somebody's going to die of some dread disease. A ukulele you can pass out into their hands, and it doesn't cost $4,000 like my hurdy-gurdy. It doesn't sort of fall apart in little pieces if it's dropped. They're fairly rugged little things, and they're not that hard to teach. I first started teaching at Woodford Folk Festival, and before that date had thought that I couldn't teach. Discovered this little system of dots, and away I went. So You Can Play was born.
Fantastic. So what have you been doing in Launceston while you've been?
Teaching kids to play ukulele. Lots of it. So about we'll be up to about 250, 300 children that can all play ukulele at the end of the session. So it's been fun.
Fantastic. So do you believe that music is an important part of people's lives?
I think it's fundamental. It's the first thing we get when we're born, and it's the last thing that leaves us when we die. I've played to Alzheimer sufferers that there's no reaction to anything except when I start playing a tune, their foot's tapping in time with it, and so they're still responding to music where nothing else appears to be getting through. And a tiny baby, I mean, you rock a baby and sing to them, and they're instantly, sort of calmed and soothed. So my boys and my grandchildren have been very much soothed by my singing over the years. I think I've got a soporific voice, which is rather nice.
Excellent. So do you think, can anybody play music?
My uncle would have had great difficulty. He was stone motherless, tone deaf. I mean, so grindingly tone deaf that my grandmother passed away. He took over the farm and took over the singing. My grandmother used to sing to the chooks, and my grandfather took over the singing, and the neighbours formed a deputation to beg him to stop. It was that bad. So there are people that have difficulty playing, and there are music teachers who reckon that they can teach anybody, but some people are probably better making model aeroplane or whatever they are for their satisfaction. But I've found very, very few of those people. I mean, my test for a musician is if you can hear this mistake, then you can play music. Whether you choose to or not is your choice. If you can hear that wrong note, you're definitely a musician. It just is. There's a musician in there to be found. All you do is, when you play the wrong note, you find the right one, and you just gradually build a song, and be patient. I mean, the trouble with music is everybody wants to be able to play like their hero the first time they play it.
Yeah.
The truth is you never get to play like your hero, you get to play like yourself, and you can aspire to play as well as that person, but you know, they've probably got 25 years head start on you, so it's like growing up. You know, by the time you actually achieve nirvana and play like them, you're probably ready to shuffle off. But that's not to say that's a bad thing. I mean, the joy of music is you're always learning. You're still learning at the end of your days. I'm still learning new tricks. So, yeah.
Well, tell us just briefly a little bit about your books that you've written for ukulele.
There are 5 of them now. The You Can Play Ukulele, the first one, we thought we would only get one go at it, so it goes from 2 chords through to 8 chords or 9 chords, quite complex songs. I mean, some of the chords are just a matter of that's a chord, that's a chord, that's a chord, and that's a chord. So that's 3 chords already. One finger, one finger. If you like a ukulele lady like you. So it's not quite as complicated as it sounds playing 8 chords. That's, you know, that's 2 of them to start off with. So basically what I came up with was this system of coloured dots, and in fact when I first started there weren't as many dots, but I found it very difficult to say to people, put your fingers on the yellow dot, the 1 yellow dot and 2 green dots. So I eventually finished up having 3 green dots and 2 yellow dots. And the other one that I found very quickly was kids would get their thumbs in all sorts of wrong directions. So I now have a thumb dot there as a means of sighting the kid's thumb on the instrument. So and I'm contemplating putting a smiley on there, because if you have a smiley there, the kids look down at the smiley and they know they're holding the instrument the right way around. So that's for little guys. The object of the exercise is to get you know, even the youngest and the oldest playing. So I've taught a 93-year-old and I've taught a 2.5-year-old. You encourage them to count their fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Third finger's bent and put on the red dot, that's your first chord. And you encourage them to make like a spider standing on his web. So that's the first chord. The second chord is 2 yellow dots, and you do a lot of going backwards and forwards between the yellow and the red. So, well, I went down south for to see my gal, singing Polly Wolly Doodle drenched red. My style, she is a saucy gal, singing Polly Wolly Doodle back to yellow. So for a system that's so colour-based, my publisher, when they put the book out, wanted it to be cheaper than the ukulele, so we couldn't print in colour. So you do need to do a little jobby on the books when you get them. You just dab a red dot on the C chord as you see it in the book, and dab a yellow dot on the yellow chord, and if you're going that far, a green dot on the green chord, the G chord, the G7th chord is green. So, and it's really not rocket science. There's the red dot, there's 2 yellow dots, and there's 3 green dots. Okay. And the books, the kids' books start with 1 chord songs. So, Christmas is coming, the geese are getting fat. Please put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, oh Lord bless you. That's the Christmas one. And there's Frère Jacques, just 2 yellow dots. Or Kookaburra sits on the electric wire. And for the kids' books, there's always a joke in there, because I've been recording for kids for 30 years, and I know one thing about kids' music: it has to have humour in it. So the arrangements are such that there's musical interest, there's beautiful saxophone and all sorts of little funny bits going on, and at the same time there are funny words going on. And the books themselves, the kids' books, are set out so they can be enjoyed as a CD, because basically I want the kids to learn the songs and then play along with them.
So the book comes with the CD?
The book comes with a CD. It's an amazing price. I mean, my CDs have been $15, $20 for all their selling life, and in fact one of them was $30. and this is a book and a CD for $20, so it's quite good value.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a genuine kids CD, a play-along CD. So, and the only quick bits of advice is when you're buying a ukulele, get a good one. Don't buy a cheapie, and make sure you've asked the shop to check its intonation, because if it's not in tune, then it's not going to play well. So ask the shop to check that, and don't ever buy a ukulele without buying a tuner. They're cheap as chips, and you just clip them on the instrument and turn them on, and lo and behold, they tell you when the instrument's in tune. This one's slightly high at the moment, so as soon as it goes green, it's in tune. There are different variations on that theme, but $25 or $30 will buy you a tuner, $40 to $50 will buy you a good ukulele, and don't scrimp, because it's it's a lifetime investment. They're just a yummy instrument, and nobody complains when you take a ukulele out to play it.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you so much. Barrett's Music, of course, keep Mike's books in stock all the time, and they're fabulous books. You really should get into playing ukulele. Mike, thank you so much for spending so much valuable time bringing the joy of music to so many people throughout Australia. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.